Greetings, it's Margaret Maloney, your friendly neighborhood project management instructor, and I just wanted to expand upon the topic of strategic reserve time today. So this is borrowing from the Juggler's Guide, and these are categories that are used in the Juggler's Guide. So in front of us here is a grid. Notice we have by week. What we don't have here is the resource's name, but obviously we would keep track of that. We have by week. The amount of time available, that's the total time available. So when we see some of these weeks, and this represents a really good example of the end of the year for many people, because in the United States, around the end of the year, a lot of people have vacation time and they use it. So look at this person. The week of December 29th, they're only available for 8 hours. They're probably taking off. In fact, if you look at the week of January 5th, they have no availability. So they're off that entire week. Then they come back, it looks like, for one day, the week of January 12th. January 19th, availability for 36 hours. Something else is going on the week of January 26th because they're only available for 24 hours. And then into February, we have this person available for 40 hours. Now there's something we need to talk about right here with this available column. And this goes back to the being honest. What is the real expectation? And by the way, this is why some people don't like to do this, because it gets a little political. What is the expectation? Is the expectation that you work a 40-hour week? Is it you work a 50-hour week? That you work a 60-hour week? What is it that plans are really made based upon? And some places, plans are just made based upon you'll work until the work is done, which is not helpful at all in this model. So we really need to be honest about what is the expectation of our employees. What are we going to plan based upon? Okay, now with that thought in mind, let's look at admin, catch-up, and special projects. So admin, that's that administrative stuff that we all have each day. Depending on our job, we may spend different amounts of time on it. This person is apparently spending a consistent 2 hours per week on administrative things. That could be, I don't know, filing, putting away papers, answering the phone, answering emails. But there are things that you do that are administrative in nature, maybe attending a staff meeting. Then there's catch-up. Now catch-up means, if you look at here, look at the week of January 19th. That's where catch-up time shows up. And that's after this person has been out for a while. There's a certain amount of catch-up work we all do. Sometimes it's Monday morning. Sometimes it's end of the day Friday. And it's definitely after you come back from being out of town or away that you have some catch-up things that you have to do. Correspondence, answering questions, that type of thing. And we need to plan for that. Then we have the column special projects, which are not to be confused with the actual project work. Special projects, things that come up that need to be attended to. We have a customer support issue. We have a request from top management for data for a presentation. We have an unscheduled audit. Those types of things. So as much as we know about them, we want to keep track of them. Okay, now the total column. So if you look at that total column, that is the sum of the administrative time, the catch-up time, and the special projects. That's time that's spoken for. That's your time that's allocated. Now we can finally figure out our strategic reserve time. And our strategic reserve time is the available time minus the total time. So if you look at that first week of January 29th, the person's available 8 hours. They have total time already allocated of 2 hours, which means they can work on your project for 6 hours. January 5th, they're gone. Week of January 12th, they also have 6 hours. The week of January 19th, even though they're back for 36 hours, by the time they do their administrative, their catch-up, some special project requests, they only have 2 hours for you. Because see that strategic reserve time column? That's the amount of time that might go into your project schedule. But again, this is where you want to have that really good conversation so that when somebody says to you, you can have this resource for 50%, 50% of what? Because if it's 50% of the strategic reserve time column here, that means the week of December 29th, they're going to work on your project for 3 hours. The week of January 12th, they're going to work on your project for 3 hours. the week of January 19th, they're going to work on your project for 1 hour. That probably means they attend your status meeting. So you really want to be aware of this, because do you see how we start off already telling a lie in our schedule when we don't plan based upon this type of reality? Well, now, who should be doing this? Who indeed? There was a time when I was in front of a group teaching this, and one of my students raised his hand, and he said to me, he says, I'm a little mad at you right now. And of course I asked why. And he said, because you're telling people to do my job. And I said, what do you mean? And he says, well, I'm taking these project management classes, but I'm a resource manager. And you just told a group of people to get into my business. And I hadn't really thought about it that way. And what he was saying is, this isn't the job of the project manager. This is my job as the resource manager. If you're borrowing resources from me, when I tell you how much time they get on your project, you should believe me. It's not your place to go into this chart and create this chart for people who don't work for you. And I had to kind of say, well, point taken. And point taken indeed. Let's not cause trouble with our colleagues. Let's not make resource managers think we're getting into their business, but let's know this anyway. So despite what my student said, and that I don't love, it wasn't my job that day to make him mad, I still encourage you to know this and to work with your peers and your colleague resource managers so that when you are told you get 50% of a resource, you know exactly what that means, and you know that it's coming from strategic reserve time and not from their total available, unless that person is 100% available to projects. Because really, strategic reserve time could also, this whole conversation could be titled Strategic Reserve Time, or How Not to Start Off Behind Schedule. Thanks. Bye for now.